Welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and we've got an interesting show today.
We do.
Yeah.
It's going to be a sad show, but it's an interesting one.
Yeah. It is sad. But before we get into that, game plan for today.
The game plan
What are
for
you gonna
today.
do? Yeah, what are you going to do today?
I am going to a dress shop to try on dresses for my daughter's wedding.
That's right. She's got a wedding. Her oldest daughter is getting married in May.
Yes. And I'm happy for them, but I'm a little frustrated with the dress shopping for the moms.
Yeah.
Because those mother of the bride dresses, they're very... I don't know
ladyish?
I don't know how to say it nicely, but I'm only 45 years old. I don't want a dress that makes me look 75.
No, I don't want you to have that either. Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I when Mac and Paige got married, I wore a black dress, and I went over to Mac and Paige, and I went over to Evansville. Of course, you know I hate to shop, and went to the dress barn. I love the dress barn. Did you ever go to the dress barn?
No.
Oh man, they used to have one up in Arcola at that outdoor, the mall up there. I love the dress barn because it's literally all dresses. Every cute, colorful. Oh yeah,
I think maybe I can remember seeing that at the outlet mall. But I don't know that I ever shopped there.
Dress barn's great. They not only had dresses, I used to stop there when I was educating for Paul Mitchell, and I was going to Chicago all the time, so I'd stop there and kind of stretch my legs, and because I'd leave on Saturday because we'd had educating on Sunday and Monday, and then I'd stop there at the old dress barn, pick up something new, and I love the dress barn. It was one of my favorites, and I think they still have one in Evansville. I mean,
okay,
if where you're going today doesn't work out or whatever,
that might be an option.
Yeah, because and they're cute. It's not. It's a cute.
There's a lot of options online these days, but these dress companies aren't always legit. They're a little sketchy, and you don't know if you're going to get it. You don't know if it's going to fit. They charge you to return it.
You know what I hate about dresses? I hate when they have like a dress and then they've got like an inside slip thing, and you sit down and you can't move, and you think you're just like all like Pillsbury doughboy all over the place, but it really doesn't look that way on the outside. But it's like that material, Beth, that doesn't move.
Yes.
And you sit down and you're like, I hate that. Why do they do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they do the thing. I don't understand designers and why they do the things they do with certain dresses. And I'm like, why did you have to go and ruin it?
I don't know, but you have to go try it on. Otherwise you'll be sending back 500,000 different dresses. Yeah.
So,
but Malia wants everything to be bright, so I need to find me a new dress for Malia's day.
Yeah, her color, or her, what's the word, dress code
now, is this kind of it?
Colorful.
Didn't we get these? Did some of these come from like
her shower?
Her shower. So are we talking
spring colors? Just colors.
Are we talking like pastels? Or are we talking whammos?
Well, whatever. She's whatever. I mean, I think she's probably thinking pastel-ish more for spring, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, she's hoping people wear color.
So if I show up in a canary yellow.
Sure. This is her personality. She is happy. She is colorful. She is not muted colors. Like, she's just, it's going to be pretty. And
I'm
it's
a color girl. I like that. Yeah, it's funny because I'm like, I don't know. You see all these magazines and like outdoor decorating and everything's just like pretty all like either blues and grays and everything matches. My house my back looks like a hippie almost lives there because I like bright colored stuff. And my kids and now Jack and JoJo and I are into painting concrete things. So we painted a turtle out there the other day. It's every color.
I bet that's pretty.
Oh yeah, I like
and
all that.
And you have your alien.
And I have an alien that Jack named Meatball Head out by my pool. Why wouldn't you have an alien with a peace sign out by your pool? I don't understand.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
But yeah, no. So I'm kind of like got that hippie because I like everything always matches. Yeah, no, it's just like bohemian. I kind of like that bohemian.
I like it too.
A little bit
fits
crazy. Yeah, I like wild pillows. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, what do we have for an ad today? I feel like we need to get into this topic because we got a lot to talk about. Oh my gosh, I have so much stuff.
You have so much to talk about. Yes, let's do our ad today. This is a hysterical ad. Let me find it. Okay. Oh man, where's all my pictures? Okay, you're gonna love this ad. It's great. Okay, let's show it. Imagine music in the moments with the auto harp.
Oh, imagine that.
Look, so you got it. Okay, take a real close look, people. Look, Mom's entertaining the family with her auto harp. And look at the little boy sitting back there. He's got his.
He's got
Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man. Bring the family closer together with your music. Real music never played this easily. The auto harp lets you sit down and play the very first time. This quality, rich sounding stringed instrument, handcrafted in America from hard rock maple, will assure a lifetime of musical enjoyment. It's portable, affordable, and more family room fun than the last year's reruns. How do you play it? With ease. Simply pick your favorite song, push the chord button, and strum. That's all there is to it. Incredibly beautiful music played by you or anyone in the family, not in diapers. $25 savings. Auto Harp by Oscar Schmidt. Music in Moments. For more information, Oscar Schmidt Inc., Waukegan Grove, Northbrook, Illinois.
All right. Have you ever played one of these, Stacey?
No, I have not, but I'm telling you, I may have to go find one and get one.
It's so easy. It sounds like even I could play it.
Well, I'm not going to lie, Beth. This is one reason why I picked this ad, because I thought of your family.
Yeah, it looks like my family sitting there, doesn't it? My
I can
husband
just see
and I
Beth coming in, sitting down. Oh, children. Jason, darling.
Yes.
Silas, grab your tambourine, Silas, and sit there and you sit down strumming your harp while your family adoringly gazes.
Right. No cell phones, no TV, just me playing the auto harp while they all stare at me and smile.
And smile adoringly.
Adoringly.
Gazing into your music splendor.
You know, this is what we really do in the evenings at my house. This is,
I don't know. I was like,
this
oh
is
my
it
God.
right here.
Besides, it was like, and that was that 1980s magazine. I don't know. I just thought, oh my gosh, I got to do this to make fun of Beth.
Yeah. Well, that was a good one. I liked it.
That was a good one. I loved it too. And I'm finding me an auto harp.
Yeah.
I bet I can find one on Amazon.
Yeah. If anyone out there has one and you're wanting to sell it, message us at bytheway@gmail.com.
Okay. All right. I'm following your lead today, Missy.
So we today are talking about the mine disaster that happened in Centralia, Illinois on March the 25th of 1947. So this disaster killed 111 men. And it's something in Clay County that a lot of people may not know about. It does affect people from Clay County because there's a lot of us in Clay County that had relatives that were killed in this.
I mean, that's one reason why Beth wanted to do the show.
Yeah.
From my understanding, you had family members that were killed in this accident.
So my great-grandfather was killed in this accident, as well as two great uncles. I think they would be great uncles. They would be my great-grandmother's brothers. So my great-grandmother lost her husband and two of her brothers, and I believe, I'm not 100% positive, but I believe also a brother-in-law.
Wow.
All in this accident. And so
and completely preventable.
Yes, it was, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So although you know, it's kind of a long story and it deserves, you know, probably I could talk about it for a week, so I'm just going to hit the highlights of it. But if you are interested in this topic, I will say that there is a wonderful museum in Centralia at their old depot, and they have a room of that completely devoted to the mine disaster, and all about it, and news clippings. My gosh, it made national news. They had Senate hearings after this. It was, and I'll get into the politics behind it here in a minute, but it was big. It was in Life magazine. It was newspapers all over the country covered it. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch won a Pulitzer Prize for their coverage of it. Big. It was big.
It was big.
And it all happened right in the midst of World War II.
Yeah, World War II. And another thing is, like, if you, as Beth and I traveled to Centralia to find the information on this show, and that museum is 3 stories of just fantasticness is the only way I can say it.
Yes.
That museum is pretty spectacular. I love it.
Yes.
Very nice. Not just this kind of thing, but like,
they cover everything. They cover the railroad history of Centralia, and they cover
music. There's home decor, beauty shop equipment. Yeah, because that's why I took.
They even have like all of the, I wouldn't say all, but a ton of the actual signage that hung in downtown Centralia, like all those neat old signs that say drugstore or whatever. That are in the back corner of that museum. So anyway, okay. So what happened at this coal mine is basically there's coal dust that gets in the air from them mining, okay? So there's all this coal dust that accumulates inside of a mine. And some mines are drier and dustier than other mines. This particular mine, this was Centralia mine number 5. There had been previous mines throughout the years. Mining in Centralia started in the late 1800s, I want to say like 1880s. And they had other mines. Over the years, they kind of closed those down. Anyway, at the time of this accident, there were only 2 mines open, and mine number 5 was one of them. And the coal dust and this particular coal mine was a very dry, a very dusty coal mine. They had a lot of this coal dust, which is combustible. And a lot of the men, well, probably almost all of the men that worked there didn't really understand exactly how combustible it was. They'd been told that it wasn't safe to have it dusty. I mean, I don't even know how they worked in it. Sometimes the dust was so thick they couldn't even see. No. The visibility was next to zero.
And you need to take into consideration the masks that we have. I mean, these guys were just down there as if you and I would walk in there.
They weren't masked up. They didn't. There's 2 ways to control the dust. One is to keep it wet and sprinkle it with water, and that tamps it down and helps control the dust. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is what's called rock dusting, where they would actually combine it with what I kind of read made it sound almost like really ground up gravel. You could kind of mix that into the dust that was on the pathways and the roads, and that would keep things knocked down so that it wasn't in the air. So they were supposed to be doing rock dusting on a regular basis, and they were supposed to be doing sprinkling it with water on a regular basis to control this combustible coal dust that was in the air. They weren't doing it, and it wasn't the fault of the men working the mine. It was the fault of the mine company, because any time that you stopped production to do cleanup or safety work or to control that mine dust was time when you weren't mining. And
what we talk about on the episode, what's it come down to?
It always comes down to money.
It always comes down to money.
Money. So what the company was like, we need the money. We're in wartime. This coal, at the time, I mean, coal has always been important, but at that time, coal was incredibly important. And the war was going on, and they needed production to be sky high.
Absolutely.
Whereas they were also down some men because a lot of the younger men were gone. So at the time of the accident. Let's take a quick commercial break before you dive into, and we'll come right back with this interesting story. We'll be right back.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
John Lucas.
What?
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
We're deep in discussion about dates.
We're deep in discussion about dates.
Okay, so I talked about this all happening in the midst of the World War II, and that is because the reports of problems at this mine started. Well, they'd been going on for a long time, but there was a man named Driscoll Scanlon, okay? Driscoll Scanlon. He was born and raised in the mines. His dad was a miner. His brothers were miners. He visited the mines when he was a boy with his dad. He grew up to be a miner. He started mining himself when he was a teenager, I think. Wow. And then he eventually worked his way up, and he became the mine inspector, okay. For basically Southern Illinois. He's a good guy, okay? Driscoll Scanlon, good guy. Remember that in this story. He inspected this mine number 5 every 6 months. For years, he would make all these inspections and reports. All of his reports were sent to a guy who was over the Department of Mines and Minerals, and his last name was Medill, Medill, okay? I'm not going to call him a bad guy, but I am not going to call him a good guy because I feel like a lot of blame rests on him. That's my personal opinion. Other people may see it differently. Okay, so this Medill, he had a secretary named Ware, W-E-I-R, I don't know. And he basically typed up all of the reports that Driscoll Scanlon was sent, and then he just gave a short summary or passed it on to Medill some of the time. Sometimes I don't think Medill even saw the reports. Sometimes he did, and he wasn't happy with the reports. They all knew, the inspector knew that this mine needed shut down, that this mine was in bad shape. It not only had this coal dust that was out of control and no visibility and very combustible, but it had timbering that needed done, the timbers that hold up the ceiling, the roof. There were places where the roof was going to collapse. There were places where the walls were swelling. There was serious issues. But a lot of the men that worked in the mine weren't too bothered about it because it had always been like that. And it went on for like 20 years and nothing had ever happened. But as time went on, it got worse and worse and worse. And the men started complaining.
Right.
There was a union. The union men got together and discussed what to do. Basically, this Medill, this guy that was over the mining, what I call it, the Department of Mines and Minerals, he ignored all of their complaints were ignored. He wrote them off as like simply not a big deal. We don't have time for that. Okay.
What was his dog in the fight as far as this goes? Because if he would have been, was he like, is this like a state thing? I mean, is it like the state?
Yes, he was state.
So that's what I don't understand.
But there was also a federal inspector that came sometimes. The federal inspector did not have the authority to shut down the mine, at least not in the early 40s. The state inspector, this is kind of where a lot of people toss around who's to blame. The line gets blurred because the state inspector, Driscoll Scanlon, the guy that I said is a good guy, he had the authority to just shut the mine down and say, we're shutting it down. It is too dangerous. Those men do not need to be down there. This thing is either going to collapse or explode.
Right.
He didn't do it. And people ask, why didn't he do it? He didn't do it because if he would have done it, they would have fired him. Medill would have fired him and been like, bring in another guy. I need a guy that comes in there and does this job and doesn't make a fuss. And then there would have been a guy in there that would have just been writing the stuff down, and it just would have continued to be ignored. So I believe that Driscoll Scanlon felt like I should continue to do the reports, even though I'm not being listened to. I'm not going to shut them down because if I do, I'll lose my job. And at this point, I think it's safer for the men if I just continue to work for them.
That makes
he
sense
wanted
to
Medill to be the one that called the shot to shut it down. And it should have been Medill.
Should have been him in the first place.
But Scanlon knew the second he said shut her down, they were like, it's wartime and we cannot lose that production and you're fired.
Well, you got to take into consideration, had he got fired, they could have brought somebody else in that wouldn't have had any reports whatsoever.
Yeah.
So because of his reporting, it all ended up blowing up.
Right.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
You know.
So there's a very good paper trail here
huge
with this
paper trail.
huge paper trail. All of these reports are filed with the state and also with some of them with the federal. So basically there are these roads going in and out of the mines that they hauled stuff in and out of. Those are the haulage roads, and they were very dusty. The dust was in suspension all day from the hauling back and forth, and it was very irritating to their respiratory passages, to their eyes. I honestly don't know how they continued to go back and forth to work every day. But I will say at the time, the average age of the men working there at the time, I have that underlined somewhere, but I think it was about 59 years old was the average age of the men working there in the 40s, because the younger men were off to war, and the older men still needed the money, and these were good paying jobs. They were good paying jobs because they were dangerous. But anyway, there a couple of years went by. They did do at one point some sprinkling of water in there, and then the mine was like, see, we did it, we're good,
We did good.
that was like in 1945, I think. But things quickly got really bad again, and then that prompted several of the men to come together, and they wrote what is now known as the Save Our Lives letter. And they wrote a letter to, let me see if I can find it, to the governor, Governor Green at the time, and this letter is dated March the 3rd, 1946. So this is about a year before the accident. The man that wrote it, his last name was Rocamp, and he had been chosen by the other men to be the one that would draft it, and he wanted it to be written perfectly without mistakes. He took his time. He wrote a very well-written letter to the governor, and I'll probably won't read all of it, but I'll read bits and pieces of it. We, the officers of Local Union Number 42 UMW of A, have been instructed by the members of Local Union Number 52 to write a letter to you in protest against the negligence and unfair practices of your Department of Mines and Minerals. So basically, this is a letter against metal. Like they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Before we go any further, we want you to know this is not a protest against Mr. Driscoll Scanlon, the state mine inspector in this district. Mr. Scanlon is the best inspector that ever came to our mine, and to be honest, has the character of a good mining man. He writes the reports just as he finds the mine. But your mining board will not let him enforce the law or take the necessary action to protect our lives and health. This protest is against the men above Mr. Scanlon and your Department of Mines and Minerals. In fact, Governor Green, this is a plea to you to please save our lives, to please make the Department of Mines and Minerals enforce the laws at number 5 mine of the Centralia Coal Company at Centralia, Illinois, at which mine we are employed, before we have a dust explosion at this time like just happened in Kentucky and West Virginia.
Wow.
So that gives me chills. Please save our lives.
Please save our
This
lives.
letter goes on. It was several pages long. In this book, it's several paragraphs long. It's very well written. They definitely chose the right man to put it together. And it was a plea to the governor, like, wake up. Like, your offices are not doing their jobs. Our lives are in danger, and nothing is being done about it. There's 4 men that signed the letter. Only one of them survived, and that was Rocamp himself. And he lived to tell the story. But it was also signed by Jake Schmidt, William Rocamp, Thomas Bush, and Elmer Moss. Those were the 4. So it was arrived and stamped received on March the 9th at the governor's office. A man by the name of John Chapman. He was one of the governor's 3 secretaries. He's the one that read the letter, not really the governor. The secretary intercepted, and he wrote a memo to Metal. And he said, I have read the letter and report of the state mine inspector very carefully, and it is my opinion that the governor may be subjected to very severe criticism in the event that the facts complained of are true, and that as a result of this condition, some serious accident occurs at the mine. Will you kindly have this complaint carefully investigated so I can call the report of the investigation to the governor's attention at the same time I show him this letter? So he wanted everything resolved by Metal at the same time he showed the letter to the governor. That way he could be like, Governor Green, here's this letter. These men are in danger. They're complaining. But look, what our Department of Mines and Minerals has already acted on it, and it's taken care of. That's how he wanted to present it. Okay. So then Metal responded, and he basically blew it all off. I'm not going to read all of his comments, but he's like, these guys are just worrying too much, and it's wartime. We have shortage of help. The government is very demanding every ton of coal be produced, as we need to keep going. And the complaint sounds a good deal worse than it really is. This isn't anything different than it has been in the past, and everything basically la-di-da, everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
It's okay.
We got to keep working. Got to
they just pushed it aside. Okay, so now we're,
it's not like we're the only coal mine in America. I mean, come on.
No. But but again, it comes down to money.
Makes you wonder if once this Meta wasn't getting a kickback from somebody.
So each time this mine was inspected, they would find like 84 things that were wrong. So what happened was basically it boiled down to this. Metal and this Driscoll Scanlon had this deep hatred for each other. And Metal was just like, you know what, Scanlon, your inspection reports are way too long. You're way too wordy. You need to take it down a notch because you are writing out every little thing. And most of these men, and he used a derogatory slang term for the men in the mines. A lot of them were foreign. So at this time, Americans that had previously been here in the 1800s before the mines opened weren't crazy about going underground. But the Europeans had already been mining over in Europe, and then that's what started a bunch of different nationalities to come to this area, specifically Hungarian, German, that part of Europe. Okay, a lot of German. My family was German. So that those men were the ones that were in the mine. Okay. So he made a derogatory slang term towards those men at some point, and basically said, most of them can't even read or write, and they don't even speak English that well. They don't even know what is all on this whole inspection report. You're just scaring them with a lot of words. You just need to knock it off. Yeah. But everything he was inspecting and reporting on was the truth. These men were in great danger.
And it was serious. 84.
Yeah. And this book goes through each different time, each inspection. And like this one in particular had 84 things wrong and a bunch of improvements. But
before you continue on, we're going to take a commercial break and come right back.
Okay.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank. We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online bank, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be. Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you could be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. We do have a guest in with us today. My mother, Debbie DeVore, is here. Ty, do you want to pan out, please, and we can see?
Yay!
My mom is here to join us today because this one of the men killed was her grandpa, Charles H. A. Strike. And then my grandpa was also Charles A. Strike, so her dad was named Charles A. Strike too, and some of you may remember him. So I was talking about Driscoll Scanlon and the inspector. He was told to stop writing so much on the inspections. And I think, Ty, do we have a picture of an inspection report that I sent in? I don't know if I sent it or not, but no. So basically, he started I may not have sent it, Ty. He started writing up anything new that was wrong on the inspections, but then at the bottom, he said recommendations of previous inspections that have not been complied with should be complied with. So yeah,
there it is. Is that it?
Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah. So he wrote all of this stuff. He wrote them up constantly, and nothing was ever done. So this is the last inspection. This was on March the 18th and 19th. He spent 2 days there in 1947. That's 6 days before the explosion.
That's ridiculous.
And he wrote everything up again and was like, everything I've ever reported on needs to be fixed. And nothing was done. So anyway, that's kind of the politics behind it. But the explosion happened at 3:27 p.m. I believe we have a picture of the clock on the wall. Ty, let's show that one next. Yeah. This is in the museum at Centralia. This is the number 5 mine disaster, Tuesday, March 25th, 1947 at 3:26 p.m. The clock stopped. And just going in that museum and seeing that is just... It gives you chills.
It gives you chills. It's very somber when you look, especially when you look at the pictures. I took several pictures too.
Yeah, let's go through some of our pictures here, Ty.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. I don't know which one's going to come up first.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, let's look at that one.
Let's look at this one and see.
This is an aerial view of right after the disaster. This is a bunch of hearses backed in, ambulances, and family members, and they are all gathered around awaiting news. No one really knew what was happening. Were there still survivors down there? Were there not? So basically, the quitting time was 3:30 p.m. All of these men were getting ready to go home. A lot of them were already on their way to the shaft that went back up to the surface. Some of them were not. They did... At the last thing they did before they would leave to go home is to light some more dynamite that would get ready for the next day. But they weren't allowed to be down there when that was going off or whatever. They weren't supposed to. I don't know that they always were. The dynamite, there was 2 ways to tamp down the dynamite. You could use, you were supposed to use clay to tamp it down. A lot of times they used the coal dust because it was so handy, not knowing that would be that it is so combustible. I forgot the combustibility rate. I had it in this book, but it's super combustible. They're supposed to use clay. They didn't always do it. Do we know if that's what happened? No, we don't. But Mom, what were you going to say about Grandpa?
That was his job. My dad told me that he was the one that put the charges into the holes that set off the blast.
Yeah, so
and he made a little more money doing that.
Yeah, it was the more dangerous job, but apparently he was a brave man, and he was like, "I'll do it." So,
I'll do it.
So some of the men were killed instantly. The split second that everything exploded, they were killed instantly. My gut feeling is that Grandpa went instantly. Just because that was what he did, he was probably the one there near the explosives. Some of the men were in other parts of the mine. And when I was reading about the layout of this mine, like, it's huge. Like, there were some rooms that were thousands of feet big.
Right.
Okay, so it's almost like football fields underneath there in some ways. And they had different hallways and different roads in and out. And it was almost like a little... I don't even know how to put it in words, but it's not just a hole in the ground. It's
it's almost like a city underneath.
Like a city underneath. The people were in different sections. So when this explosion happened, it kicked off gases in the air, and they call that the black damp. Okay, so this gas was suddenly everywhere. And so some of the men didn't die from the explosion, but they died from inhaling the gas. And some of them, I think, just kind of fell asleep. They looked like they just fall. They were even still clutching their lunchbox on their way out the door, Others, it like sent them into a frenzy and they went mad. And the survivors found a few of them, and they were so combative, they couldn't hardly get them out of the mine because they were kind of out of their minds.
They were out of their mind.
But the men that weren't killed immediately tried to huddle together and crawl to safety. They tried to stay low to the ground where there was less gas, and they found little scraps of paper, and they wrote letters to their loved ones. And we have a picture of one letter, Ty. I think you were almost pulled it up a few minutes ago, but yeah, there we go. We'll show that. This was found in Joe Bryant's pockets. He had several notes. One read, "My dear wife, goodbye. Name baby Joe, so you will have a Joe. Love all, Dad." Another read, he had a lot of kids. I think he had like 11 kids. Another read, "Sammy, Raymond, be good boys." Jackie, that was his nickname for his son Harold, who was already dead in the mine. That he had an older son that worked in the mine. He didn't know that. Melvin, help mom, please. Your father, Joe Bryant. Oh, Lord, help me. That's what he wrote. I mean, it just
it makes you sick.
Yeah. And then there was another man, one of his notes, it might have been Joe. He had written down, be sure to check all of the pockets of all of the men. They all have written notes in their pockets.
For their families.
So that was really sad. Yeah. Let's go through some more of the pictures, Ty, please. Here we go. This was actually a cartoon that was printed in the Sentinel. That's the Centralia paper. And basically, it shows the coal company and the Illinois Mine Inspection facing basically this is saying, hey, the blood is on your hands.
Yeah, you gambled, but I paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gambled that nothing was going to go on, but I paid.
Yep, that's what it says at the bottom. You gambled and I paid. Yeah,
let's go through some more pictures.
Let's see. We got a bunch of pictures. Okay, this is a picture of the mine before the explosion. This is the part you could see above ground.
Is any of that still in existence? Beth?
Well,
is it all gone?
There's no sign of it from above, but it's still. I mean, there's still a lot of underground. Okay, let's keep going.
Let's do some.
Okay,
this women waiting to find out.
This is the women waiting. They all went into a wash house, which was near the mine entrance.
You can see the laundry hanging above their heads.
The laundry above their heads is the clothes the men wore to work. Now, once they got to work, they changed into their mining clothes, their nasty clothes that they went underground in. So these women actually came in and they sat. They found where their husband's clothes were, and that is where they sat underneath their husband's clothes, waiting all night long to hear whether their husband was a survivor or not.
Gosh!
And in comes the reporter from the from the newspaper and takes their picture. Now, what do you think about? Like, they were probably like, seriously, like, get away.
Well, that one on the far left end literally looks like she's saying, "Are you kidding me right now?"
Yeah.
Yeah. If looks could kill.
Yes. Yeah, they're like not going to smile for the camera. This is probably the worst day of their lives.
Oh, because you're talking, the 40s, and not everything existed like happens now.
And one of the women I read about, she was only 17. Her husband was one of the young ones. She was only 17 years old, and they would not let her identify her husband. That because she was a woman probably, and she was young. They had her brother come in, and her brother had to go look at him. And it came back and reported something that was particular about him, and that he had a red coat. And she said, "It's him."
Yeah. What people need to take and consider, like 111 men died, 99 widows, and 78 dependent children under the age of 18 were left then without fathers.
Yeah.
That's 99 women just went on.
Let's see the next picture, Ty.
Lost their. Oh, this is a miner's wife. This is one of my photos. The people are trying to comfort her. They're just sitting there waiting, and it looks like she's got her children with her too. That girl to the right looks like she's. Yeah. Let's flip through some more. The photos are just haunting. Oh, see, that's I sent the miner who was killed told his wife,
Yes.
Mrs. Carter, we're going to have an explosion. At this point, they know it's going to happen.
Right. They did. And in fact, I think I have a further quote by her husband, if I can find it.
She's holding a picture of her husband, Arthur.
She went on to, if this is the right one, she went on to, at the hearings that were held afterward, a bunch of people told her, like, hey, you just need to stay home. Like this, you've been through a lot. And she's like, no, my husband told me if this ever happened to be a soldier, and a soldier doesn't stay home. A soldier will be out there fighting, and that things need to change so that this does not happen to other women and other children. And
wow.
She was
a strong female.
Yes, she was. And she was mad. And she was like, I will be a soldier, because he actually, they had been married about 3 years, and he had just went back to work because he'd had the flu. And it was like his first week back. And in the conversation with his wife, days before the explosion, he said, Tootsie, we're going to have an explosion in that mine if they don't clean it up. The coal dust is so heavy, our shoes are full of it all day long. Whenever that explosion comes, I want you to hold yourself together and be a good soldier.
Wow. Well, she
That
did.
is his quote. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Did you have a picture of Aunt Evie getting grandpa's
Yeah.
clothes?
Just hang on.
So,
Yeah.
It's next. Let's see what's
Let's
next.
see
Ty.
what else we got, babe. These are rescue workers getting ready to go down into the mine.
Yeah, these are the rescue workers. So look at their helmets and their breathing apparatus. They have all this stuff on. And then I have another picture I sent of that is actually still in the museum. Ty, do you have a close-up of that box of apparatus? Look how heavy. I mean, I wish you could just see it. It was heavy. And they were all wearing that to go down there. It looks very old and not great technology.
Not
great
very
technology.
I like that term.
I don't even know how they even saw where they were going.
I don't know how you would either.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go through some more pictures and see I took this picture just because I thought it was a real. So this is a gentleman. He's got his hard hat on in the light. That's what they went down in the mines. This guy, they had no gear except for their little pitchfork. He's probably carrying a water bottle there behind him or a lunch pail.
I think that lunch pail is in the picture, and it's also sitting in front of the picture.
Yeah, right in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just thought that was a really neat picture.
Yeah.
Let's scroll again, babe, and see what we've got.
Okay,
I didn't take this one.
This one I did. This is my Aunt Evie in the blue scarf. This is my mom's aunt. And this is her name, Mrs. Larry Shimmick. Of course, they wouldn't call her Evelyn. But she, my grandpa, Charles A. Strike, she was receiving his clothes. So they were handing over his clothes to her in this photo. And I believe this photo was published I don't think it was in Life magazine, but it was in one of the papers, wasn't it?
I believe
so anyway,
what
she
is
was
the
a
lime
super.
green? What am I seeing? What's the?
That's something reflective, I think,
okay.
off of one of their.
Yeah, it's hard to take pictures.
Yeah.
She had just got married the week before, and then her husband was going to start in the mines, but then it blew up. So I think the week after that was when he was supposed to start.
Oh,
so then he never went to work there.
He never did go to work there.
He dodged
well,
a
we need to
bullet
take
there.
a commercial break, and then we'll come back with some more pictures of the Centralia mine explosion.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Peggle's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Peggle Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Roll King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Roll King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. We're talking about the mine disaster in Centralia, Illinois in 1947, March the 25th, where Mom's grandpa passed away, my great-grandpa, and then his wife Clara, two of her brothers passed away as well, two cousins. Yeah.
And maybe a brother-in-law.
So there were so many funerals that all of the churches, there was just days and days of funerals. This was the week, the mine accident happened the week before Easter. All of the burials were during Holy Week. Our family were members of the Lutheran Church in Centralia. They published this book. It's many pages. I don't know. They had 9 funerals in a short period of time. There were just funerals every day, like 12 to 11 funerals every day for an entire week.
Because you're talking 111 people are gone.
Yes, and it was people had to come in from all the other towns to assist, but 9 from the Lutheran Church, and a lot of them were related to us. So 4 Gutslers and an A strike, and then I think there was another one that was somehow related to.
Right.
But
and there were also several fathers and sons.
It did seem like there was a lot of family down in that
and brothers. 2 of the Gutslers were brothers, and then the other 2 Gutslers were also brothers.
One family wouldn't be. I mean, one family was affected multiple times.
Yes, like this family lost like 5 or 6 people, just wham, all at once, and that was. Let's finish the pictures. Let's see what else we have.
That's the aerial view of the coal mine disaster, and then there's a lady being comforted next. And then down below that picture, you can see like it's got like a little diagram, like the middle, like just the smoke.
Right.
The gases coming out.
Yes.
How deep they were.
Yeah.
Holy Moses.
Miles. I think they were like 4 miles.
Unreal.
I think, or maybe 4 miles from the shaft. I don't remember.
I
but
can't
it was
remember.
Really
a long
deep.
way down there.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep going.
That's the one. That, that's just a mother with her 5 children.
Yep.
Left alone.
Yep.
5 little children.
So sad. Yep.
Okay, more.
This is a photo of all of the men that passed away. I won't name all of their names, but this is pictures of all of them.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
That is something. Let's keep going. This is a picture of my great-grandfather, Charles A. Strike. And he was 60 years old when he died. I mean, he was 60 and still working down in the mine. So.
Jim's age. Yeah, Jim's 60. That's crazy.
Okay, let's keep going. Oh, okay.
With Beth.
So I sent this in because I thought this was funny. Look who I found at the museum.
Bing Crosby.
Bing Crosby.
Oh, her celebrity crush.
Yes.
Bing.
Yeah. I'm like, actually, this wasn't at that museum. This was we also went to a antique shop that was nearby. And
I didn't know you took a picture of the antique shop.
Me and Bing. But that was the only bright side, I guess.
That
the rest of the day was sad.
So somber.
But I felt like picture would have been a good picture to end the show on, which we're close to the end, so we showed it. But anyway, so there was an investigation after this, of course, and there were Senate hearings. And actually, the Senate hearing, as I understand it, came to Centralia. So all of these legislators came to Centralia.
Did Hoover come to Centralia?
I didn't see pictures of Hoover.
Look and see.
But the governor was there, and all these other men were there, and a lot of pointing fingers and blame. A lot of words went back between Metal and Driscoll Scanlon about who fault it was, and Driscoll Scanlon was like, I did the best I could. I didn't shut it down because I knew they would fire me. And they were like, well, then you should have been fired and known that you did the right things for these men. And he's like, well, in response to that, they would have just hired another inspector that was in their pocket the next day, and they would have said, you go in there and you write a really good report that makes it sound like it's not that bad. And he's like, I felt like I was more important to continue to work toward the good of trying to get this fixed. And actually, he did, in his final report, the one that was just a few days before the accident, he said he thought things had actually gotten a little bit better in there.
Now, I've got a picture here, Beth. I didn't send it in, but it's like Truman. Harry S. Truman sent letters to surviving coal miners, and down here below it looks like he sent one to Mr. A. Strike.
Yes, I actually have a copy of that too. Yeah,
Truman. I'm sorry.
There is a letter here from Truman dated August the 18th of 1959, a couple of years later, and it says, "Dear Mr. A. Strike, I certainly wish I could be present for the dedication of the memorial to the victims of the Centralia mine disaster that was going up in Centralia. They have a memorial. Unfortunately, it just is not possible, and I hope that you will express my greetings to those in attendance and my regret at not being able to be with them. Sincerely yours, Harry Truman." It was at the bottom of the letter, it says it went to a Mr. Robert A. Strike. Now, Mom and I, neither one know who Robert A. Strike is. My great-grandpa Charles was the only A. Strike that was killed in the mine. The others were cousins that were Gutslers, so it's confusing to me who received this letter. Was it to was it to his brother Lester A. Strike? I don't know. At the time of the mine explosion, the war was ending, and my grandpa was still overseas, but he found out about it in San Francisco?
San Francisco, yes.
He was in San Francisco. He saw a newspaper. It was on the front page of all of the newspapers, even in San Francisco, and he's like, oh my gosh, that's how my grandpa found out that his dad had been killed. Had been at this mine. And so he had to call home, and they were like, so glad you called. We've been trying to reach you. There was a mine explosion, and your dad was killed. And so, of course, he came home. But he also had another brother, Lester, who was also serving in the military at the time. And I'm not sure that he was there.
I'm not sure he made it home either.
I think maybe he didn't make it home for the funeral. But it did say several days funeral and wakes consumed residents of Centralia and nearby communities, multiple services and burials for members of the same family, and in one case, 4 friends. They were all close friends. They shared a funeral. There were 12 funerals held on Saturday, March 29th, 11 on Palm Sunday, 21 on Monday. There was an official day of mourning. Anyway, there's just a lot of information on this out there if you're interested. This book actually covers 2 mine disasters. It's called Death Underground by Robert E. Hartley and David Kinney. If you like to read about things, I would bet you could probably find this on sale on Amazon, but it's also in the museum at in Centralia. It's a very good read. What else was I going to say about it? It was just
Metal.
Yeah, how did it end?
How did it
end? They had these hearings, a lot of blame, everyone pointing. Scanlon, I think all of the miners stood up for him and was like, dude, this guy, he did his very best. He is the best inspector we ever had, and nobody did that for Metal. I think that he basically just pointed blame at other places. I don't think either one of them got in any kind of trouble. But Metal was released from his position. So he ended up getting fired. Okay. But he didn't know he was getting fired. In fact, the governor announced it at a press conference.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah. He hadn't even told Metal he was going to be fired, but he was nice in the way that he said, "Oh, and by the way, Metal has resigned from his position due to I forgot the wording he used, but he made it sound like Metal resigned on his own." But
don't they always?
He did not. He did not. He just he didn't resign at all, but I'll have to find the words where he did it. But Scanlon, he just ended it with, "If I had closed the mine, Director Metal would have sent someone here to reopen it the next day."
Sure, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. And then there would have been no paper trail.
I will say one other thing too. Dad said that another reason they didn't close the mine was because those people were poor. They had no other way to feed their families.
Yeah.
So they didn't want the mine shut down just so that they could continue getting a paycheck.
Right.
So
things were tough in the 40s. They were tough in the 40s. And there wasn't everything, People think they have it rough today. They don't even have a clue of how rough it really was.
Right. Food pantries and things
there
like that.
There's not a lot of government assistance.
Right. None.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. But anyway, I could go on for days about the whole clash between Scanlon and Metal and whose fault it was. And I don't know, but there's a lot of different ways to put it, but the Post-Dispatch in St. Louis said the blood of the men who lost their lives in the mine disaster at Centralia is on the hands of the mine operators who continued to run the mine in the face of repeated warnings of an explosion hazard. It is also on the Illinois State Department of Mines, whose inspectors have authority to close mines that do not comply with safety requirements. Why was this mine permitted to operate in the face of these warnings?
The question is, did Metal and his family have to leave Centralia?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, good night. You put one little...
And I'm not sure that he actually lived in Centralia. He was over all of southern Illinois.
Okay, so he probably didn't live there.
Yeah, it probably says in this book where he did live, but I don't remember.
It was Springfield, but I'm not positive. I was thinking that's where his office was, but I'm not sure. Could have been Marion or something.
Yeah, I have a feeling it was more like that, but I don't remember. Right. But anyway, that kind of wraps it up. But it was definitely a sad day in history for Centralia, and it carries on to Clay County people. There's a lot of people in my family that are all related to these men. Any of the A strikes that were related, and any of the Shimmicks that were also related. So
it's very interesting story.
Yes, for sure. But anyway, it is time to end the show. So do you have a happy note to end it on?
I do. Here we go. From Franklin P. Jones. Love does not make the world go round. Love is what makes the ride worthwhile.
Oh, that's good.
That's not a bad one, is it?
Yeah, it's what makes the ride worthwhile. I'll agree with that.
I will agree with that.
Without love, I don't think any of us would even want to be here.
All you need is love. La, 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 la. That's what they say, isn't it?
That's what they say. So.
And a little money.
And a little money. I mean, money doesn't hurt.
I got a little change in my pocket.
Going jing-a-ling-a-ling. But no, so anyway, thanks for joining us on this episode. It was an interesting one, I think, but it is close to my heart.
I have a feeling there's a lot of people that had no idea this even happened. I didn't know about it till you brought it to my attention.
Yes, so I urge you, if you haven't been to that museum in Centralia, to go there, check it out. It is a fun one. It is 3 stories tall. It is way bigger than the Flora one, and it is right downtown, right next to the old tracks. And before you go, Google their hours. There are a couple of days a week they are closed, so make sure before you make the drive that you know that they're open. As always, you can catch us on YouTube. By the way, with Beth and Stacey is our YouTube page, and you can find us on Facebook, By the Way, with Beth and Stacey, and we're always on Wabash Channel 100 Catch TV daily at 11 a.m. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
God bless you and have a great day.